Hey, this is Ken Casey from the Dropkick Murphys, and I love the Grandstanders! Take it away, kid!
Welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor, Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's the barber to the stars, Hollywood Pete McGilvery. Well, we have another great show for you tonight, so boys, let's get started. First of all, I want to thank our great sponsor, Dante's Pizzeria, 415 Harvard Street, Brookline, Mass. Make sure to say hello to David, and we got a nice
pasta. Was delicious.
Beautiful pasta. And mushrooms, you missed out because you came tardy. But he's here, Pete's here, and that's the most important thing. Okay, it was a disaster. It was a freaking disaster.
Yeah.
I first of all, you'll never watch the game again, right? You won't ever watch the highlights. You know, I'm sure you taped it, right?
Yeah.
You won't.
Oh yeah, I taped it. But
but you watched it
I was
over
uncomfortable the whole game.
Did you really?
Why'd you watch it over again?
Well, I didn't take it like the Giants. I was crushed. Both
Yeah,
Giants.
same here.
This game, I felt like it was a football game. I think the Patriots did what they wanted to do, contrary to what everybody else thinks. They just didn't execute.
The offense played well, right?
Yeah.
You put
Excellent.
up 33 points in the Super Bowl. You're supposed to win
600
it,
something yards. Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
It was just such a weird game. I mean, I think that's the
good
bottom
word.
line. It just was weird. It was weird from Jump Street, and it got weirder and weirder and
And It
weirder,
was weird right to the end.
all
with
the way
flea
to the
flicker.
end. With the flea flicker and the.
It was
you
an
know,
arena football
That
game broke
kickoff
out.
return. Oh,
It was an arena football
It
game.
was an arena football. The
That's
way
what
they
it
went
felt like,
back and
right?
forth, right? All of a sudden.
Then it didn't end.
Yeah, right.
Because
Yeah, because you knew at some point we were going to have a Hail Mary, right?
Yeah.
You thought the game was
Which,
over
by the
after the
way,
strip sack, but it wasn't.
that flood tip was perfectly executed by Tom Brady. Everybody down the other end was 5'8", you know.
it would have gone right to Hogan if he hadn't been smeared by that guy further up the field.
Oh, this is desperate
Well,
talk.
no,
I
I mean, no,
can't
but
do
my,
that.
my issue was the weirdness continued. I mean, I know we're going to start from the beginning, but the weirdness continued. What I'll never understand was with, 13 or 14 seconds to go, where they could have thrown two Hail Marys.
Right, yeah, exactly.
They cut the,
9-yarder.
they threw a 9-yard out for an unknown reason. It wasn't that Brady couldn't reach the end zone, because the next play he reached the end zone.
Yeah, and
Right?
he broke a tackle.
Yeah.
So
to get,
I don't
that
know
was a great
why
pass.
wouldn't you take a shot at two Hail Marys at that point in time?
Yeah, things were weird.
It was
The whole offensive game plan was weird, despite the fact that we scored that many points. We were with a trick. Why? I mean, one of the stories of the game was that Tom Brady wasn't able to catch a pass, so we didn't win the Super Bowl. Has this become lunacy?
Right.
He did look like a Clydesdale lumbering after that.
Did catch the pass.
I know that's just that question is just ludicrous.
That would have been a touchdown.
No.
I mean, so you have
There was
the-
a guy in front of him, right? Yeah. He still had to run 40 yards.
So the man sets a record, his own record,
Yeah.
in the game, and you're like, damn, Tom Brady needs to catch that pass. That's just
Yeah.
ridiculous. And why would you put Tom Brady in that situation?
On a, what was it, 3rd and 5?
Third
or
and
fourth,
five.
3rd and 5, and then they went for it on 4th down.
Luckily, there was no one around to smoke them.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
it was an odd time. You know, those are the kinds of plays that when they tricked that game up, right? When they beat Baltimore in that playoff game, they tricked it up late, like middle of the 3rd quarter.
Oh,
They were
yeah,
like, we're losing
Edelman,
by
yeah.
14. We need to trick it up.
Right.
They just decided to trick it up in the 2nd quarter, and they never stopped.
First quarter.
First quarter,
Yeah,
so, you know.
I tell you, I wouldn't have been surprised, and we were going to touch on this last week. I wouldn't have been surprised if McDaniels dialed up a bomb for the first play of the game.
Right.
Because that's old Parcells type thing. You know?
Yeah.
And spread the field out a
And
little,
when
little
it's
bit.
a one game for all the marbles, you pull out the stops. You run plays that you've already had always had, but never wanted anyone to see.
Right.
And it wasn't enough that this is the most exciting sporting event of the year. It's our New England Patriots, but the soap opera starts before the game even starts. Malcolm Butler is crying almost on cue during the national anthem.
Weeping uncontrollably.
And we don't know what the hell's up, right?
I thought he was patriotic.
It just got to him.
Right, he was so touched
The
by
way
the
Jordan
national
Richards was
anthem.
touching his shoulder.
The moment was big, too big for him.
Yeah, right. We were all fans of Pink.
I am a fan.
Absolutely. That was bizarre, right? And it got more bizarre as the game goes on because Malcolm Butler, who played 98% of the snaps in the season and played well against
Prior to
Jacksonville.
this, yeah.
And I know he hasn't been the best player on the team
That's
defensively.
an important point.
But when things were going bad and you needed to put Jordan Richards and Van Demosi in positions where they needed to make plays, why wouldn't you have put Butler in?
Yeah, they couldn't, and they put them in position to make plays, and they couldn't make them.
Yeah.
Van Demosi makes that play on the third down when the Eagles in the fourth quarter.
That was disgraceful.
We break their serve at that point in time.
There was a lateral movement. I mean, you're paid to make tackles. I get that.
Right, but
He had control of the guy. All he had to do was twist
Look,
and put him
Another one
down.
was the first down when he gave him 11 when he knew he needed 10. And he didn't take the guy
I mean,
that was
sort of
wrong.
where Pete was, I think, going was, look, the decision not to start Butler, I can't really argue with it. There was probably something going on during the week. They saw his play degrade.
Right.
But when that game is going south on you defensively, and Guy, I mean, when Jordan Richards is playing meaningful snaps in a football game, you're screwed. I mean, you're done.
Right.
And Jordan Richards was given an opportunity, wasn't making plays. Batamosi was given an opportunity. Why don't you put Butler in? That's what I don't understand.
After when we all started to try to figure out, we were all speculating the Butler deal. He punched somebody, he smoked grass, he missed meetings, he was late. All this went on, and Belichick said, he wasn't in our package for this game. And I got to thinking about it. I said, this is true. He figured the best opportunity for them to win this game was to have a shootout with Nick Foles. My guy against Nick Foles. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think my linebackers stink, so I don't want them to run the ball. I want to have a shootout with my guy Tom Brady against Nick Foles. I think last week against Minnesota was a one-off. I think I'm going to win the game, and this is our plan. The problem is
It didn't go that way.
He didn't change it.
Yeah, he didn't change it. Exactly. I'm comfortable with that explanation, but what I still don't understand is why didn't he change it?
Especially as it went on.
As it went on.
And you still had you were never out of the game.
No.
You were never out of the game.
But you had Jordan Richards at linebacker, guys. Right?
Just to
You
repeat.
know that's not going to
And
work
Pat
out.
Chung, so two guys
Yeah, but
very
even
light.
Yeah,
right,
Pat
but
Chung was put in a bad
but
spot.
he's made plays all year, right? Chung has. I mean, he's an NFL
looks pretty
player.
bad in that
Jordan
game, though.
Richards is not an NFL player.
No.
He's a special teamer at best.
Yeah.
Jordan Richards joins the Kelly Olynyk's,
One of the great
the
second-round
Daniel
picks.
Navas, and the Hanley Ramirez's as the most hated athletes in the history of Boston sports. He may be a fine person outside of playing,
A
but
Stanford graduate.
I hate Jordan Richards with the passion, and he can never play again.
Rowe
And
took more heat than Richards. A person that understands and watches the game recognizes that it was Richards.
Yeah.
Most people think
Right.
because he got torched up pretty good in the
He
first.
got church up and he
well,
cleaned it up in the second
But the
half,
Eagles knew this guy. They got rid of him because they
Yeah.
didn't think he was any good, and Foles
Yeah.
looked for him.
But
picked on him.
again, and we were saying this earlier, in Butler may have been able to make a few plays that made the difference between winning and losing for sure. But he was just one part of a complete defensive breakdown. I mean, Landon Roberts was horrible in that game. To your point, horrible linebackers, and every time you turn
Noy
around,
was horrible.
Van Noy was horrible.
But we're talking
Well, I'll
guys
say
who are,
one thing for Van Noy. Both him and Harrison set that edge. They didn't run around that edge at all. But
But they were
they
getting
did drop
torched
in,
by-
but
but
they got
Blunt
torched in coverage.
torched into
Harrison
coverage.
looked like as the game he's getting closer. You could see he was
That's
getting
right.
closer, but I think he was also running out of gas
Yeah,
too.
that's true.
But how many
who
big
would-
how many big plays did they have, Pete?
None.
No, but Eagles.
How many big
huge-
plays
How
did-
many,
yeah.
how many big plays
Yeah.
at the Eagles constantly, right? You're
Yeah,
running
but
it off 15, 20 yards at a.
Going into the game, would you have thought that Shaq Mason would have handled Cox? I mean, honestly.
He did a great job on him most game.
The
Yeah.
great thing about the Super Bowl is that everything we expected didn't happen.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I
right.
called a 24-20 game. Thought it would be pretty tight.
Yeah.
You know,
The
it
interior
was.
linemen were going to have their way.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Tom was going to be on the run all day. He was back there chucking it.
Well, I'm fairly confident, maybe in the AFL days, but the New England Patriots have never won a game that they've given up 41 points. I'm pretty sure. So we gave up 41 points.
Yeah.
We're not winning any games, and we're sure not winning any Super Bowls.
Look, you can make a pretty credible argument that Philadelphia was a better team in the regular season, and they were a better team in the game they played in the
They
playoffs.
led almost the whole game. They were in control almost the whole
Yeah,
game.
we didn't deserve to win that game.
Okay, so, Belichick always says that his coaches are not yes men, right? So was Patricia, was Ernie Adams, was anyone in Bill's ear at some point during that game say, we got to give Malcolm a shot? And if they did that, which you would hope they did, did Bill ignore them and just continue on to make a point? Did he sabotage the Super Bowl?
What's the point that you're staying with your
No, Scott. I think it's stunning that he didn't take advice or didn't, but he didn't sabotage means you actively try to lose. He did not actively try to lose a Super Bowl game. There's no world in which that makes
but
any
he
sense
kind
to
of
anybody.
facilitated it.
Okay, was Bill Belichick 100% in on that game, or was he distracted?
I honestly believe that Belichick looked at his week in practice and said, "This guy's not my guy on Sunday, and it's for all of it." And he just wasn't making the calls. He wasn't doing the right things in practice.
But Pete, Tom Brady could get intercepted
Look, he
every
may have
pass
been-
he throws during practice.
But
He's
he
still going to
doesn't.
play the game, but he's still going to play the game.
But look, I think, was he stubborn? No doubt. Was he being hard-headed? No doubt. Was he distracted? Possibly. I'll give you distracted. I'm not going to give you sabotage. I'm not going to give you actively.
I am.
Bill Parcells was
Seriously,
you'll give me
guys.
Bill Parcells was distracted and did not give his all
yeah.
when he coached the Super Bowl for
Yeah,
the Patriots.
but that's different from actively sabotaging a game so you lose to make a. Do you think that he would have lost a Super Bowl game to make a point to
No,
who?
he wanted to put
To
the
who?
cheese
He
in
didn't
the
think
bowl.
it would go that far. He thought they were going to pull it
Okay,
out.
does if Malcolm Butler plays all the snaps like he played the 98%, do the Patriots win the Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe. I mean, it's a
Butler
legitimate.
He might
against the
make a
Jaguars.
terrible mistake.
Maybe
somewhere.
he may have won. They may have
not
won the
great.
game.
Look, Malcolm Butler may have problems defending the pass, but what Malcolm Butler's been great all year, and he's been his whole
Closing
career,
speed.
is Malcolm Butler's a great tackler.
That's all that's true. Now let's get past Malcolm Butler and we get to the core of Belichick got outcoached. He got pantsed by
Yes.
Doug Peterson.
Right.
He got outcoached. Peterson did everything right in that game. Finally, a coach figured out what it takes to beat the Patriots in a big
No,
game.
you're right.
Go on
Aggressive.
fourth. Yeah.
Go on fourth down.
Pass on first down.
Be multiple. Create indecision. I mean, it was a
Well, he
great
kept
job.
his foot on their throat the whole
The
game.
entire game, he never
But they
took the
got-
pressure off.
I mean, they got those fourth downs. They got especially
Great
the
execution.
third downs.
Yeah.
Got
They
outcoached.
never.
Patricia got
never did it, though.
outcoached.
It was
Right.
execution.
Patricia got outcoached, and Belichick got outcoached. I can't say that McDaniels got outcoached because McDaniels, the
Oh, Nick
offense had
Foles,
their
every
way,
time they blitzed, Nick Foles picked it up right
right?
there.
The special teams coach got outcoached.
Right. And we can stop about the whole halftime adjustments, Bill Belichick, because there were none.
Well,
Yeah.
wait a minute. What do you mean? What are you talking about? He put that guy would have been the MVP if he didn't put Gilmore over.
Yeah, but he could have had Gilmore on Jeffries before if he had Butler in the game, to start the game.
Well, Butler wouldn't have been on Jeffries because he's too short.
No, I'm saying Gilmore would have been on Jeffries the whole
Should
game.
have been because he's the well, no, Rowe's the taller guy.
Yeah, but
Rose is bigger than
Yeah.
Butler.
Rowe had been injured most of the season too, right? I mean, this was not the time to play games, okay? And you named him smoking weed, didn't make the curfew, came late.
Well, that was all speculation. I don't think anyone's ever actually.
Chandler
that.
Jones was caught with drugs, and he played the game, right?
Yeah, but Scott, on a football team,
He wasn't caught, he gave himself up.
Yeah, right.
300 people on the sidelines of a football team. Somebody would have spoken to a reporter, some reporter, and said, "This is what really went." Everyone knows, but there's no story there. I think.
No.
Babysitters know when something goes.
Oh
haywire.
no, but there's complete collusion in Gillette Stadium, right? I mean, these guys don't talk.
But everyone's been wrong. All the talking heads have been wrong about this. So it seemingly, even guys like Rappaport, Schefter, have been wrong with their initial reports on this whole situation.
Malcolm Butler comes out with that tweet, categorically down the line. That, you better be right.
Right.
You better be sure.
Hey, it creates doubt moving forward as fans. That's all it does. But we'll move forward. All right. Because we did have the lead. We had the lead
for a
in
whole
the game.
minute there.
Okay. And as Russ said during the game, the Eagles then put on one of the greatest drives in the
Held
history
the ball for 6 minutes
of the Super Bowl.
in a Super Bowl. They got
With
the
the
ball
help
with
of
about
Johnson Batamosi.
Right. And
The safety wasn't too good there either.
well, McCourty, they were all bad.
I didn't hear McCourty's name until the third quarter. Where was
The
he?
second half of the season until this game.
Look, when a team takes the ball, when you have the lead, when you just got the lead in the fourth quarter of a Super Bowl, and a team takes the ball on you and drives it for 6 minutes, it takes a village to screw that up, right?
Exactly.
Everyone participated in allowing that to happen, and the fact that we were sitting there towards the end of that game, worried if we were even going to get the ball. The best thing that ever happened to the Patriots was when they scored that touchdown fast.
That enabled them to
Because
get the
the
ball
way
back.
it was looking, we were going to get the ball with 39 seconds left and be down by 5 or 8 points.
Yeah, right.
Right?
And including that drive was a fourth down conversion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Fourth
he
quarter,
didn't.
Gronk was
He didn't
dangerous.
back off or punt or anything. He went on fourth down.
It was very, very similar. That play was similar to Belichick's
4th and
decision
2.
against Indy a long time ago. He had no faith in his defense.
Detroit may have been questioning their decision with Matt Patricia
They
because
absolutely should be.
there was no creativity at all, no blitzing, okay? And at one point, one of the boys goes to me, he goes, is Trey Flowers playing today?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, he's your star lineman.
You had 2 weeks to figure out how to deal with this run-pass option.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, but I'm not ready to condemn Matt Patricia for the one game. I mean,
Their game plan was
part
just
of
to
the
stand
reason-
there and
part
not
of the
let them get
reason
away.
of their success over the last 10 years is Matt Patricia. No doubt, he doesn't have the horses to pull the wagon against better teams. And as you go up to that last game, you're playing better teams.
Yeah.
Well, they all choked. Patricia
point,
choked,
Pete.
Belichick, they choked. They choked that game. If we say players choked in big games, the coaches choked in
It
that
was a
big
bad game plan. It was a very bad
Players
game
win
plan.
them, coaches lose them.
You're right. There were they did nothing different. The same old. And when you have personnel like Roberts and Richards, you have
Right.
to put them in some positions to succeed, right?
Yes. I look again. I've been the one leading the way on. Look, they got to outcoach back and forth, but Pete just referred to it. Guys also just didn't make plays. Guys, we depend on. McCourty didn't make plays.
But this
right?
defense, you could count on one hand the plays that defense made all year long. That's not a playmaking defense. It's as the classic bend but don't break.
Tried to do, you're as good as your talent sometimes, especially against a team that's so balanced and talented.
So you knew on the first the touchdown of the Eagles, the controversial one, the first time, Clement, you knew that wasn't going to be reversed. There was no chance, right?
There was I saw a few face masks in there that didn't get called. I mean, there was no.
They
lot
let
of
them
things
play.
don't get
They let them play.
Yeah.
But you knew that with the Patriots, the
I thought there was
reputation
a
that
good
the Patriots
chance-
are getting calls from the referee.
I
that
thought
wasn't
there
happening.
was a good chance that would get overturned just because that play got overturned a lot in the NFL this year.
But I
a
thought it
lot.
was clear he was a runner.
No, the Ertz thing
Ertz
at the
one,
late
yeah,
one.
that
The
was-
second
yeah.
one was clear as day. They were never. He was a runner. He took 5 steps.
Yeah, that was a waste
Right?
of time. I don't
I just
understand
hope
that.
they
Yeah.
get rid of the rule. I hope they do it more so that we don't have that 30-second delay where we need Chris Collinsworth talking through the whole thing.
Chris Collinsworth, who called both of them incorrectly.
Yes.
Right?
He swore that was not going to be a touchdown. Not a
Well,
catch.
that's because it was inconsistent. Can't we agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, those two need to go because Al Michaels had Patricia coaching the Detroit Pistons.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, right. That's when it's time. But I think the big stage is done for Al Michaels. All right, so who do we miss more? It looked clearly the player that we missed the most was Hightower.
Yeah.
You put Hightower on that team and things are
Yeah,
different.
I
And
mean,
we knew
we had
was
that
going to
debate.
be the
That was
case,
my
right?
answer a couple of weeks ago when we
How
talked
can-
about it. But
Yeah, how can you argue that?
Yeah,
when
you
score
were
500
flabbergasted that all
yards?
three of us said Hightower was the more important one.
No, right, no, yeah, but he clearly was, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
no
because
doubt.
he's a leader and stuff. And moving forward, linebackers, right? I mean, you need to literally overhaul the whole.
Yeah, I mean, you look around the
line.
NFL and you see these teams with big, fast linebackers, and you think the only guy I've seen like that on the
Jamie
Patriots
Collins?
was Jamie Collins. I mean, Hightower's big; he's just not particularly fast. You got to put some athlete. To your point, you got to get some athletes on defense.
When was it the Pittsburgh game or the Jaguars game? When the guy came through the middle, hit Van Noyes at the 2.
Drove him back.
Got to get athletes on
I mean,
defense.
these kids trying. He's just not elite.
So the season ends, and we want to just kind of move on to the Celtics. I know you want to move on to Celtics, and I know
Fast
the
as
Bruins,
possible.
Red Sox, and then all of a sudden, Josh McDaniels. We speculated if Josh McDaniels didn't get a job this year, then the fix was in, and he'd be the next coach of the New England Patriots.
Looks like the fix is in.
Is the fix in?
When he didn't
Certainly
get
looks
the
like it.
Giants job, I figured he was going to stick around.
But he actually got the Colts job.
And agreed to it,
Yeah.
by all accounts.
Look, it's a pretty lousy thing that he did to the Colts, but the Colts are pretty stupid for announcing, publicly that he was going to be the head coach before he signed a contract.
I think they got a whiff. And, said,
And try to put the pressure on him. I think you're right, Pete.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
But it's not. Look, people do that in the real world all the time. Especially
Right,
when
but
you're
this
going to
is very-
relocate
this
from
is-
New England to Indiana.
Right. But this is a very high-profile thing. When a guy decides to turn down a offer
sales
at a law
job.
firm or a sales job, it's not.
12 guys with him
Yeah.
from different colleges
Yeah.
and teams. And
I mean, it was a sort of a lousy thing to do.
No, look.
And Googs was finally going to get another job.
It's payback to the. Look,
By the way, you're right about that. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Screw them.
it's payback for the Colts. I mean, remember
They screwed us in 2 trades last year.
We couldn't believe it when we had a Dwayne Allen deal.
and
But when
Philip Dorsett.
but when they traded him, that was the first thing. I didn't even care about Dwayne Allen. Like we're dealing with the Colts.
Yeah, now we are.
I mean, this whole deflate.
Well, I don't think we're going to be dealing much
No,
with the
no,
Colts
not
moving
much in the
forward.
future, though.
Well, Chris Ballard, the GM, at the
Rivalry's
end of his
back on.
36-second press conference, said the rivalry
Yeah,
is
when
back
you win
on.
more than 7 games, talk to me about the rivalry being back on.
Yeah,
And when Luck comes back, too.
Yeah, but that could have played a role also, is because the
Yeah,
rumors
no
are
doubt.
that Luck may need another surgery. And do you think that Josh McDaniels is going to a job to have Jacoby Brissett as his starting quarterback?
no, I think that McDaniels just simply wants to coach the best team with the best player in the world.
And
It's already
40
got a whole
How can
intact
you
system.
lose?
Right,
Yeah,
a
he's
great
41
point.
years old.
And he's 41 years old. He's
yeah.
already been a head coach. You know he has plenty of money in the bank. Look, did he make a mistake by even interviewing with the Colts? Absolutely. If he
Yeah, but
wasn't serious.
Where were the Crafts when they knew he was interviewing? Was this because of the Malcolm Butler?
Yes,
blowback?
I believe Belichick forced their hand on this.
Yeah, it makes sense because he was going right up until yesterday.
What are the Crafts hearing every time they speak to a new person since the Super Bowl? The first question is, why did Malcolm Butler play? So they're getting that in their ear. They're aggravated, and their relationship.
And they know you got to talk to Bill. You got to talk
No,
to Bill.
look, I don't see the Malcolm Butler relationship to this. What I do see is an owner of a football team knowing that his star quarterback and his head coach are in a rough spot, who also knows that there's one guy who can sit between them, which is McDaniels, and he went in and he restabilized the
But
organization.
why didn't he do that? He had plenty of time to do that before.
I
this
think
whole-
I think there's
No,
part
he chose Tom Brady going forward over Belichick, and that's why the split has happened.
Well, also, I think
No,
he
but-
kind of found out that Bill maybe didn't have the stronghold on the room that.
It could be that. I mean, your question is why now? Why did they even let him interview? And it's a great question. I don't know if they wanted to make sure there wasn't a distraction. They were trying to follow protocol. Typically, when teams want to hire a guy as a head coach, the team
step
sort
back,
of gives
yeah.
them, you step back.
Right.
And then I think Kraft took, a couple of weeks ago we had this very interesting conversation here about is it Brady or Belichick? And I said, you got to throw Kraft in. This was a money move by Kraft.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big time owner move.
Yeah.
Which
I bet you he's going to get as much money next year as most head coaches in the league.
Well, he would have to,
If
right?
you're Bill Belichick and the team is still pretty, you're in the Super Bowl and you're saying, "Geez, Josh, I don't want to lose Josh McDaniels. He's the best there is." Can
Tom
we agree
doesn't
on
wanna
that?
lose him.
Tom likes him. He's a great. I'm gonna call him in the office and say, "Look, I'm gonna be here for 2 tops. Why don't you hang?"
Because it's a lot of heavy lifting for a
I don't think
65-year-old
that
to have a new
happened.
offensive coordinator, too, guys.
Yeah.
I don't think
And a
that ever
defensive
happened.
coordinator, right?
Yeah.
And it would have been a special
Right.
teams coordinator, too, because Judge was going to go with him.
But
Yep,
the irony
quarterback
is,
coach.
it was Patricia or McDaniels. Because remember, they could have had Patricia. They could have courted Patricia as the next head coach of the Patriots, but they did pick
The
McDaniels.
two?
Yeah.
No, there's no question in my
because
mind
Tom
who you're
has picked
picking of those two.
McDaniels.
What's it? Yeah, right. But I'm
Tom
saying,
has picked Josh, and the Crafts have picked Tom. Belichick's 1 year and he's out of here.
right. Well, we're going to talk about this more, and we'll get over this. Are you
Can't
guys
wait.
over it?
Yeah, done.
Yeah, I think it's been talked to death. We're
The Super
beaten
Bowl?
to death
No, but the
already.
whole Super Bowl, you're over
Yeah,
it?
I'm done. I'm
Well, it's
totally
tough
over it.
because it was a winnable game.
Yeah. How long do you need? Do you need 24 hours? 48 hours?
I don't know. It's like Happy New Year, you know.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, Happy New Year.
I don't know, yeah.
All right, we're going to the Celtics because it's the trading deadline tomorrow, and he gets excited. This is
How
yeah.
about, do you like the Monroe move?
It's a great move. They cost them nothing, zero.
Yeah,
Right? I mean, it's just some money, and the money that was a free.
in a roster spot.
Oh, I
Right.
love Greg Monroe. Greg, I wanted him to sign
Yeah.
him when he was a free agent a few years ago. All right, do the Celtics make a trade, or do they wait to buy out when there's a buyout of a player and pick him up that way? Because we know Trader Danny, he loves his second-round picks, and if he had 10th-round picks, he'd love those too.
There was
He
a
doesn't
third
like to
round.
give-
He'd be hoarding those.
Yeah, he doesn't like to give up anything. So we're always like, matter of fact, well, give up a second-round pick. He looks at that as a see-me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What happens?
I don't. They may not make a deal. Like unless Danny can get the
Something for
best,
nothing.
get something for nothing, or get the best of a deal. I don't think he's going to make it because he knows 24 hours after the trade deadline, guys will be bought out, and he doesn't have to give up anything for that.
Right. But we've improved with Monroe, right? It feels like we're just one shooter away from a complete
Yeah.
roster moving
The shooter's initials are GH.
forward. Right?
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
that's
know.
the-
I read his blog, and it sounds
I'm
like
not
he's-
optimistic.
No, it
but
sounds like
he'd
about
fit
his
the bill.
about his surgery and stuff. Let's be honest. If it was a football player, he would have been playing in the Super Bowl.
yeah.
No, I don't
Right?
think so. Yeah. I doubt
Well,
it.
remember, he guaranteed us he'd be back on the court February 1st.
Oh my God, Joe! You have to remind me that. Yeah, no, he's not. He's not coming back February.
That wasn't
1st.
that bad.
I don't think so.
I don't think that it didn't hurt me at all. All right, we're gonna go to the Bruins, and because it's gonna be a nice spring around here, and we really haven't had that excitement of a great Bruins team and a great Celtics team going into the playoffs. They could very well have the best records in their conferences heading into the playoffs. Is it gonna be a long, fun spring with the
Yeah,
Bruins?
it's definitely fun already, and the Bruins have kind of capitalized on the whole. Let's just fly under the radar
Yeah.
while the Celtics
Just
are
win.
having their big thing and the
Yeah.
Patriots are doing their thing. We'll just keep going. And now, when you watch this team play, I mean, when you watch another game, it's hard to watch because you're accustomed to the Bruins and their movement is just terrific.
Pete, do you
And they're
think?
going to get Marchand and McAvoy.
Yeah, I
back
was
now.
going to ask Pete. Do you think the Marchand suspension in retrospect was a good thing for them?
Well, he's an
never a
all-star.
good
No, but they went 4-1. I mean,
Yeah.
giving these guys a chance
It
to
shows
move
their
up,
balance,
right?
Too. Yeah, because the spots that moved up, but you never want to lose a guy like that.
But it helps a guy like him rest because you're gonna
Helps a
this
guy like
playoff-
Heinen playing with a
Yeah.
top-notch line, too.
It's a crazy team because you actually even have David Krejci with a pulse now. You
Yeah.
know, all of
Yeah.
a sudden, he's
magician
bringing
out
his
there.
game up because the young guys are inspiring him a little
I
bit.
don't know what's going to happen when everybody's healthy. Who's going to be upstairs? I don't know who you bump upstairs in this team anymore. They're that.
The ninth floor
balanced.
club.
It's amazing.
Because it's a strange,
You
know,
have to look at
trading,
the coach.
but it's a
Yeah.
strange trading deadline year for the Bruins because
It's-
they could win a Stanley Cup, but you don't sit there and go, "There's this glaring need that we need to acquire."
That's
Pete,
the
do you
thing.
want him to
got
make a
Rick
move?
You got Rick Nash sitting there looking for a team, and you know he's green-lighting the Bruins. I mean, who isn't right now?
Right.
But boy, the chemistry is just so good, and I think that Neely and Sweeney have they were all in on the kids, even when things didn't look good.
Yeah.
To their credit,
Yeah.
and I don't see any reason why they would back off.
It's
of that.
funny because they're similarly built as the Celtics. They've got a handful of big time, high priced players and a bunch of kids, and that's where the league is going.
And there's
right?
3 or 4 guys down in Providence that can
Yeah.
play here now.
And we're back to the glory years of coaching when before we had Francona, Belichick, Julian,
Doc
and
Rivers.
Doc Rivers. Now we have Brad Stevens, Cassidy, Belichick.
Oh, I thought you were going to say McDaniel.
Alex Cora.
Yeah, well,
Alex
since you've got
Cora
the
hasn't
firing
shown
Belichick.
anything.
No, but it looks like he'll do a nice job. I
Yeah.
mean, whether
David Price likes him.
But it's again, we have stability in the coaching ranks.
It
Yes,
all
yes.
it starts from the top.
Price on the first page of the newspaper today.
Yeah.
I mean,
But he's right. He'll win the team over when he pitches
That's
better.
all he needs to do.
He'll
Pitch
win the
well.
fans over.
Just go pitch. Don't throw the ball,
We're a
David.
very forgiving lot. of
Yeah.
Boston fans.
We were all cheering him on out of the bullpen last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, right. It's what have you done for us lately? And if lately's good, we only love you.
Now they're talking in Carcion now for Jackie Bradley Jr. Did you hear that?
Oh, wow.
I might.
You heard it here.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a hot take. I didn't hear that.
Todd?
Todd?
All right, boys, but that's the show for tonight. When Pete just ends with that hot take, want to thank the fellas. Want to thank everyone behind the scenes. Of course, the lovely and talented Adrian and handsome Todd. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.